Good Monday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening after the weekend. Some big developments here this morning, causing the market to react positively. Oil prices to drop, treasury yields to drop. Basically, good day around here based off of an announcement this morning. We'll get you updated on here in just a couple minutes here. But first, let's get started with that market watch. And as we were saying just a few minutes ago, Trump tells CNBC, and this will be our lead story here coming up in just a minute. We are, quote, we are very intent on making a deal with Iran. He says that he has instructed the military to not attack any sites there in Iran in terms of infrastructure places for 5 days. And as you can see, the market is rebounding very, very positively to this news this morning. Dow Jones right now is up 710 points to the 46,510. S&P 500 is up 87 points to 6625. Nasdaq's up 450 points early trading here, 22,097. And then the Russell 2K, that small cap index, 82 points up right now, 2514 for the small cap index. Bitcoin also rallying this morning, 71,589 for the cryptocurrency. And we'll get you that more update on that story here coming up. But that is obviously what's driving the market up today. Treasury yields down. Oil tumbles today after the infrastructure comments here and no reporting here. Supposedly a negotiations going on. I'll have that story for you here in just a minute. Trump on Saturday gave Iran a 48-hour deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And then this morning, he said, well, communication's been going well. We're going to stop our attacks there for 5 days. Oil prices this morning, Brent crude fell more than 6%. It's down to $105 per barrel. It was at 112 on Friday, to give you some context here. West Texas Intermediate, well, they were down 6% as well, $92 per barrel here in early market trading. So all that is happening. And positive news here this morning with that war being paused here for at least 5 days coming up here. You know, I just gave you the oil prices there. Our first stock we're going to look at is Occidental Petroleum Corporation. Well, these are basically energy stocks. They fall along with the oil price stocks as well. With all these, a lot of industries being affected here on the market. We don't have graphs for a lot of them, but we'll tell you a lot about industries. But Occidental Petroleum down 1.40% right now. EOG Resources also down today as well. That's our next stock we're going to show you, 0.07% right now. They were down more than 1.5% earlier today in pre-market trading. And then Chevron also down, at least earlier today. It was down about 1%, down 0.28% right now for Chevron. No shocker here. Oil prices dropping means they're not going to make as much moving forward for these stocks as well. Other industries to pay attention to, airlines today. No stocks on these really quick. I just want to tell you about it. Delta, United, Southwest, all up over 4% in early market trading based off of the news of President Trump gave this morning about the war as well. Why? Fuel driving through the roof. So much so United had already canceled and postponed multiple flights and routes here coming up based off of how high oil prices have gone lately. Airline stocks are up today as well. Cruise lines as well. Carnival, Royal Caribbean, all up more than 5% in early market trading based off of the same information. Obviously has to do with, oil prices for these giant ships to move around as well. Cruise lines, Carnival has been down more than 23% as of Friday's close. Royal Caribbean down more than 15% based off of those oil prices out there. For them, banks are higher today as well for the most part. Consumer spending eased those fears of consumers pulling back a little bit more. All around the news this morning, people feel, the wars could be over. Consumer spending will pick back up. So Capital One, Citigroup, both up about 2% in early market trading. Regional banks, those are the PNC Financial, Citizens Financial Groups, also up about 2% today as well as the fears of the consumers cutting back with those news. Travel stocks are up as well based off of those same consumer spending fears as well. So Expedia, Bookings Holdings, Bookings.com is what that's from. They're both up about 2% as well. Hotel chains are up today. Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, they're all up between 2 and 3% between all of these companies. As people think people are going to start traveling here and not cut back on their spending as well. Airbnb was up about 2% as well, kind of in that same category also. So the whole industry's up today based off of consumer spending or oil pricing, with those tumbling here today. So a lot going on here with this announcement this morning by President Trump. Later on, when we come back and look at stocks, well, we'll take a look at those memory stocks again, because we've been watching those with the memory stocks being in short demand right now, and what their stocks are doing. Back in the news today, I'll give you that update. But first, let's get into what's kind of happened here and throw away everything you heard about this weekend. Strait of Hormuz was threatened to be reopened in 48 hours, or else President Trump said some things would happen. I'll throw all that away because President Trump, in a Truth Social post this morning, he said he would order the U.S. military to postpone strikes on Iran's power plants and energy infrastructure for at least 5 days following talks with authorities over in Iran. He, interesting enough, he talked to CNBC and to Fox people as well, and he told CNBC's Joe Kiernan in a phone call shortly after the post that quote, and he said, quote, "We are very intent on making a deal with Iran," unquote. Iranian state media, though, they cited an unnamed senior security official. They put a post out on Telegram. They actually said the opposite of what Trump's description of conversations were. They said direct or indirect talks have not taken place between Washington and Tehran. Trump countered that with the most recent talks between U.S. negotiators and their Iranian counterparts had occurred Sunday night. That came from Fox Business anchor Maria Bartiromo. She described a Monday morning phone call with the president this morning on her program as well. So, two programs talking to Trump, getting the same message. Iran, of course, is Iran saying, nah, it didn't happen. Now, with Fox Business, he was able to get some follow up questions here because that was after Iran said talks hadn't happened. But Trump did say that talks would continue through the week, but it's not clear who or participated in the talks or where they were held specifically, or who talked to who's in charge or whatever. But Marie Bartolomeo did say she asked President Trump about Iran denying the talks happened, and he said, "Well, they need to pay." Basically, he summarized by saying, "Yeah, they need to talk a little bit more. Their infrastructure's destroyed. People obviously haven't gotten the memo that talks have been happening there as well." But that is what's driving the news, the stock market, oil prices driving down, consumer confidence going up through the roof today, all happening here in the last couple hours here based off of the quote unquote ceasefire happening over the next 5 days as well. So let's turn our attention as we're waiting for those developments to keep happening here on this Monday. Let's turn our attention to some business news out there. And on Friday, a jury there in California did conclude that Elon Musk had misled Twitter investors ahead of his purchase there of Twitter back in 2022. And don't forget, that was a $44 billion acquisition. Musk was accused of falsely claiming that Twitter underreported how many fake and spam accounts, those bots out there, how many were on the platform before he had bought it. So it's a class action lawsuit. Pampina v. Musk is what it was called. It was filed in October of 2022. Twitter shareholders challenged Musk for having publicly questioned on 3 occasions after agreeing in April 22 to buy Twitter. And he questioned openly whether the company was overrun with bots and perhaps had 20% more, 20%, and Twitter was claiming they only had 5% of bots at that time. Shareholders did cite, among other things, that May 17th of 2022 tweet in which Elon Musk, he said the takeover, quote, cannot go forward until Twitter's chief executive proved the bot percentage was less than 5%. So basically, they said the words, he was costing the shareholders pricing by driving down the price with his words. Jury agreed with it and have found against Elon Musk here moving forward from that perspective. And the ramifications on this from the business side is you can't just put stuff out there to drive down pricing to benefit yourself to try to get a cheaper price. purchasing something. It's kind of what the outside look in here on what this jury verdict could mean as well. And folks, some more media news out there. We know the media industry is struggling right now, especially the old field. We're doing good here at TME Media, but CBS News did announce on Friday it's shutting down its long history, its storied radio news service. Been in operations for over 100 years now. It's all part of a new round of layoffs here by CBS, blaming a shift in radio station programming strategies, and obviously they're also blame the challenging economic times that we're all in, and especially in media conglomerates with getting sponsors, etc. So back when it went on the air back in September of 1927, CBS News Radio was the first thing that happened. It was the first thing for the entire network that came later. So a lot of people, right? Edward R. Murrow actually delivered reports from London during World War II as part of CBS News. Today, CBS News Radio provides material to an estimated 700 stations across the country. It's best known for its top of the hour news roundups. The service will end on May 22nd, according to um, the CBS News as well. So, a high end, a long time company. Of course, they shut down their sports radio programming. End of last year, fourth quarter of last year as well. CBS Sports News. See you later. Also, they renamed it a year or two before that. Now they've eventually shut that down. And now the entire news side on the radio is going away there for CBS News Radio. And look, it's a sad time. Look, I get radios moving. People aren't able to make the transition. But storied companies just going by the wayside here as well. Now, we talk a lot about Rivian here. They're building those robo taxis down there in Casa Grande and things, but they are coming out with that R2 here shortly. And this is kind of the car that I wanted when I was looking for cars and things. I don't necessarily want an all EV. I'd prefer a hybrid model, but another RV coming up here, and the R2 is coming out soon, and it's stylish. It has room, even more horsepower than high-end sports cars. It can travel about 350 miles before a charge here, is what they're taming, and that's that Rivian R2. It was teased about 2 years ago. It's getting closer to coming out on the market as well. But EV sales have been slumping. Automakers have been canceling upcoming models, and Rivian is banking on the R2's success. Rivian's well aware of the EV angst within the whole car market. The R2 could be the vehicle that brings more Americans to the brand and the world of electrification of cars. They say Rivian does say the car has broad appeal. I think it looks nice. I've heard some tech issues with Rivian, besides the fact they're expensive. This one's more moderately priced here as well. It only has an average price of an average price of a new vehicle, let's say, is hovering around $50,000. Well, the R2 meets customer expectations. I'll give you the pricing here in just a minute, but it joins the company's R1S and R1T lineup. Another model, the R3 crossover, is coming after the R2 comes out as well. So the R2 is going to arrive here in the spring here, just a few weeks away. It's going to be the 57,990,000 performance with launch package trim. So here's the deal: 656 horsepower, 0 to 60 mile per hour sprint, 3.6 seconds. The R2 premium model is going to be 53,990. It arrives in late 2026. 450 horsepower in that, and a range of up to 330 miles. The least costly version of it's going to be the R2 Standard. It's priced at $45,000. It will be available in late 2027 as well. And look, that last one, the standard one, it's priced right in line with, like for instance, the low end Chevy Blazers, as well as the Equinox right below that as well. So Rivian, they're priced competitively. A lot of times these EV companies come out and they're just more expensive, a la Tesla, right? People don't move to them because of the pricing on top of it. So this SUV is not going to be built here in Arizona. It's going to be built over in Illinois, the normal in Illinois plant. These cars can connect to Tesla's supercharger network, which obviously will help with charging anxiety that you have when you first buy an electric vehicle. The R2 sales, according to Rivian, could total 20 to 25,000 in the first year. The goal is to scale up to 150,000 units as production capacity expands. Up to the 2028 arrival of that Rivian's Georgia manufacturing site is what they're getting ready for. Rivian did recently announce it's partnering with Uber, as you know, to launch 50,000 robo-taxis here in the U.S. That's that $1.25 billion investment from Uber we talked about last week here on McCollum on Business. They build custom electric delivery vans for Amazon and a joint venture with Volkswagen. We've told you about over the last couple of years. That's Volkswagen One provides software and vehicle electric structure to Volkswagen directly. That's what's done down there in Casa Grande. And Rivian's continue to grow, folks, and there's no stopping that company here coming up. And I know somebody that had one. I talked to them, and they said a lot of software issues. I don't know what that means. I don't have too many issues with the Chevy side of things and whatnot. So I'm not sure what that means exactly, but it's interesting to see if they can keep people happy and buying their vehicles over and over again. And over the weekend, with it being hot, we all were escaping the heat. And I went and saw this movie, and we're talking about Project Hail Mary here. Well, folks, we saw an early show yesterday, so the theater wasn't packed out there, but audiences are going back to the movie theater to see Project Hail Mary. And these are numbers the industry hasn't seen for a non franchise film. It's Oppenheimer, which is several years old now. So this is a huge science fiction movie, and it stars Ryan Gosling. It earned about $80.5 million in ticket sales in its first weekend here in North America. And now these are studio estimates as of yesterday. Box office tracker Intelligence, it estimates that translates into about 5 million ticket buyers for just this movie alone. It is rated PG-13. It opened on 4,007 screens, easily topped the domestic box office charts, meaning finished number one. It surpassed expectations and delivered a record opening for the studio, though. Amazon MGM is the studio that make this. Their previous best opening was Creed 3. That was $58 million back in 2023. So if you take away inflation here, Project Hail Mary, well, it also scored the second highest biggest opening for a non-franchise movie. So no Marvel, no Disney, etc. Just a standalone movie. The only one better than it was Oppenheimer. That opened at $82.4 million in 2023. So it's now one of only three non-franchise movies in the past decade to open over 70 million. Us from Jordan Peele is the third one to go over 70 million, along with Oppenheimer and now Project Hail Mary. In the realm of modern space operas, it exceeded the debuts of The Martian, which, by the way, is also the book writer of this Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir. His adaptation, from that book, The Martian, it opened around 54.3 million in 2015. Gravity and Interstellar were the other ones that opened at those levels as well. It carries strong reviews and audience scores and could be destined for a long run. I'll tell you this, 2.5 hours long. That was fantastic. And I generally don't like movies where it's basically one person. There's an alien, but one person in a movie. I get bored with those generally. The way they weave this story was just amazing, folks. According to Past Track exit polls, where it scored 5 out of 5 stars, 83% of audiences said they would definitely recommend the film to friends, and I would agree with that. Check this movie out. The gender breakdown, well, no shocker here. Science fiction movie. It was more male, about 57%, and 55% of the audience was under 35 for this movie as well. So it was an overall excellent movie. Enjoyed it 100. Emotional, fun, heart touching at times, and it was a fantastic movie going experience there for those movies, and recommend it to you highly out there. And obviously, we weren't alone in there, even though the theater wasn't even close to full yesterday morning. But we were like 10:30 a.m. showing. But obviously, 5 million people bought tickets, so we're not alone, and a lot of people enjoyed it out there. And when we come back here, I'm McCollum on Business. We keep this Monday show going. Let's get into some local stories out there. We'll have a follow-up on Luke Days. Saturday was an interesting time out there at Luke Days. We'll tell you what kind of was happening with that heat out there, and more companies opening up places here as well. We'll talk about that and so much more. Come on back. It's McCollum on Business, Monday edition. And we're back here Monday morning. McCollum on business here. And folks, what a Monday morning this is. If you missed the headline stories here at the beginning of the show, well, first of all, we're here at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, as long as markets are open. Come and join us, would you? Either live. We see you guys out there watching us live as you're getting ready for work and headed that way. And of course, as soon as we're done here, we put this up on demand here at Robat TV. Also on our company YouTube page, TME Media AZ, where you can find us on YouTube as well if you want to watch the program on demand later in the day. We appreciate everybody that does so. As soon as we're done here, we roll right into the main event. Me and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestree. We get you caught up on the sports world, everything that happened over the weekend. Diamondbacks get underway regular season here this week. We talking about that going into it. Obviously, Arizona's run in the NCAA tournament happening as well. Phoenix Suns woke up last night. Where has that team been over the last several? We'll talk about that coming up live 8 to 10 here at Robat TV. And also on demand on the YouTube channel as well. A TME AZ, TME Media AZ is where you can find it. Free podcast for those of you that would rather catch the podcast. TME at TME Sports Show, or just search the main event with Steven or main event with Dale, and it pops right up for you. And of course, you can also catch the pit stop every week. We look back at racing. Big racing at Darlington this weekend. Some controversy in the truck series and O'Reilly series in terms of some cup drivers coming down. We'll talk about that this week. Look ahead this weekend as well to racing coming up. And also at the Pit Stop Talk is where you can find me there on X as well. Follow me on that social media. Well, that show coming your way. Usually Spot publishes on a Wednesday during the week. Then, of course, The Real Matrix, as you saw there. This week's episode is up right now. Robat TV. Every Friday at 10 o'clock is where that gets posted. Now, The Real Matrix is on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media, and it pops right up for you. Rumble for the TME Media for its visual outside of for viewing pleasure. Real Matrix platform as well. You know, free podcast system for the Real Matrix. I see the numbers. They popped up pretty high on Friday. A lot of early interest there. Those come out at noon on Rumble and the podcast systems, 10 o'clock here at Robat TV. New episodes up there. Catch them all now. I was watching. I saw that after it was posted on Friday. Some instant blips there. And we appreciate it very much. I know the Angry Patriot, does appreciate you as well for catching that out there as well. So, hey, folks, don't forget also on Twitter, TME Media AZ. That's our new company production site out there. It's just getting up and rolling. Got to throw the graphic on there here shortly today. Hopefully get that done. I'm trying to work on a logo over the weekend. That is there. It's going to tell us about the shows, what we do here, what we produce, what we don't produce, what we produce that you don't know we produce. That'll let you know what's happening around this world. Kind of kicking it off here. Slow moving so far, but we're going to get it rolling for you. So join us, TME Media AZ as well on Twitter, and we appreciate you guys supporting us out there. With all that being said, the president says they're intent on making a deal with Iran. They're going to stop attacking Iran here for about 5 days now. All that means markets was well, at least the first time we looked at it today. Let's get into that Market Watch. If you missed the beginning of the show, they talked about this. Trump says they've had productive talks between the U.S. and Iran. Everything is way up today because of that. Dow Jones up 703 points right now. S&P 500 up 97. The Nasdaq's up 485 points right now. For the Nasdaq, the Russell 2K, the small cap index, up 76 points also. Well, Bitcoin, it's even rallying today, up above 70,000 again, 71,397 for Bitcoin here today, based off of this early Monday morning news. And over the weekend, it looked like we're headed toward this announcement today. Kind of a surprise that's hitting the market this morning. And then here, in terms of stocks we're going to pay attention to, let's go back to those memory stocks here as well. You know, these are stocks that led the market higher in 2026 so far this year. Well, obviously the market's rallying today. So let's look at Western Digital Corporation. You know, we looked at these stocks a couple times last week. There's a lot of demand for these memories, and there's a lot of shortages in this field. And 3.89% up right now for Western Digital in the first hour of trading on this weekend. Seagate Technology is the next one we're going to look at as well. It's up to 2.62% right now for Seagate. And then SanDisk. They're the best stock in the S&P 500 so far in 2026. And they're going to be up that as well. Stay in that category because they're up 3.42% here in the early market trading here on this Monday. Memory stocks in these groups, high demand for them with the data centers. They've already announced shortages are coming. Prices are going through the roof for these items as the data centers are buying everything out and putting them on demand. And it's kind of affecting the whole market. But they are also, with this market buying today, they're also doing well as we look at them as well. And we told you airline industries, hotels, travel stocks, other ones here, cruise lines, all up today because of this kind of the fears of consumer spending being bad and continuing to be bad or getting worse. Kind of went by the wayside with maybe the end of this war coming up as well. So big news here on this Monday. Some good way to start this week. We'll see if this momentum continues out there. And now let's get into some local stories, right? Luke Days happened over the weekend. And one thing that I'm kind of disappointed in, like we did the pre-sale thing, right? We told you about Luke Days on Friday here on this show. I read a lot of stuff about Luke Days. Now, one thing said when we talked about how to get in there, and you see a picture right there, Channel 12, how busy it was out there. Now, one thing said you needed either a passport or a real ID to get into Luke Days over the weekend. And that's the case. I heard a lot of people were getting turned away with just your standard driver's license out there. And it's kind of disappointing that wasn't hyped more. I found out about it because I just happened to see a post about Luke Days from the Luke Days X page. And it just casually said real ID needed. And I went, wait, what? And I looked more into it. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed that a lot of people didn't talk more about that, to be honest with you there. So if you got in, fantastic. If you drove out there and didn't realize that regulation, I'll take the blame for that. I did all the research and everything and didn't see a lot of pushing on that. But also, with how hot it was on Saturday, officials confirmed that more than 400 patients were contacted by medical personnel. Yeah, at Luke Days on Saturday alone, people. Alone on Saturday, 400. Luke Air Force Base officials say at least 25 people were taken to the hospital, all due to heat-related illnesses. So that would be overheating, dehydration, heat exhaustion, all for those reasons. Officials say the majority of people treated were younger than 12, over the age of 60, and those generally had pre-existing medical and heart conditions out there. And look, that was the day we hit 105, 107. Then you're on that pavement. You're out there in the wide open, sun just beating it down on you. It was Saturday. We'll have to see if the Sunday numbers got a little bit better out there at Luke Days. But if you got out there, hopefully it was a good time. I did not make it out there myself. Once I do not have a real ID yet. I don't travel like I used to. So I haven't gotten one. And glad I saw that before I decided to go out there. Hey, not only that, but if you would have driven out there and you live in the East Valley, well, you would have spent a lot on gas to get out there. You guys know that the gas prices are through the roof right now. You see it when you fill up. And the national average for a gallon of gas, well, it's $3.85 as of last week, as of Friday. That's up 25 cents from a week ago. Nevada, though, and Arizona drivers, we're paying much more here. $4.46 is our state average as of right now. $4.62 over in Nevada as well. Many Mountain West states are in line with the national average. Utah and Wyoming, though, are paying less. That's according to Gas Buddy. Like I said, this came out on a Friday. The cost of gas from state to state, it's dependent on a lot of factors, right? Regional refineries. Like here in Maricopa County, we have our special blend. It comes from California, which they're shutting down refineries over there. But obviously, the war in Iran is shooting prices through the roof also. The Trump administration planned to release those 172 million barrels from the reserves. Well, they say that'll actually be minimal on the price of oil. So don't expect big reliefs from that. Now, the war ends, Strait of Hormuz opens back up. You'll see gas prices drop back down again at that point. But here's the problem. Diesel prices is way up also, which means we're going to see higher prices, from buying our just regular products out there, whether it be food, electronics. Most all shipping is done. Diesel fuel is reaching new highs. So whether it's flown in or brought in through truckers, diesel fuel is reaching new highs right now as well. So average price per gallon in the Mountain West as of Friday here as well. As we told you, Nevada is $4.62. Arizona's $4.42. But Idaho's 387, Colorado's 383, New Mexico's $3.80. Utah's 369, and then Wyoming $3.54 up there. And we're getting hit pretty hard here in the mountain states here in the West. I know we're down in the desert, but we get counted as them out there. And as of Friday, you know this, but again, our story was put in and before the president announced the ceasefire. So we'll have to see gas or oil prices dropping like a rock here today based off of this announcement from President Trump earlier today. And another big company is coming here to the valley, and well, at least in another way, they're coming here to the valley. KBR Inc., which is based out of Houston, it's the latest company to open up a Phoenix lab for workers in the semiconductor, aerospace, and defense manufacturing industry here, and bringing jobs with them as well. They call this Arizona Metrology Engineering Center. It's going to be on 7th Street over here in Phoenix. It's going to focus on metrology. That's a little known science of measurement. I've never heard of it before. Advanced measurements, precision calibration, and other engineering skills that KBR employs while serving commercial and government clients that are working on space technologies. Not only that, but semiconductor, advanced research projects. All throughout the world, by the way, KBR works with these companies. So beyond, besides this new building coming up here with jobs coming, they already have 150 employees here in the Phoenix area, and at least in the valley. So how big is KBR? Well, KBR is one of Houston's largest publicly traded companies. 36,000 employees throughout the world, customers in over 85 countries for them. So it's a big company to get involved in and get a job with there. So new business opening up here as well for them. And yeah, if you now we live here, so we don't vacation here as much. But a new report from a big travel group, meaning a worldwide travel group, well, it shows Phoenix had the fifth largest increase in vacation costs for a family of four. Now they base this off of 4 night stay over a 5 year period. Is how they're basing this study. It was done by online destination site Luxury Link. It showed the cost of a vacation to Phoenix. So we live here, so we don't have to worry about this, right? But they say it increased 23.8%. Now that's comparing pre pandemic 2019 prices with the most recent available in 2025. So that looks at airfare, lodging, meals, rental cars, and the cost on that. So 23.8% up here. The cost of a 4 night trip of family of four is estimated at $4,742 here in Phoenix. That actually sounds kind of reasonable, to be honest with you, in my eyes, what you're looking at. But the highest 4 night cost is, of course, New York City. It was at $6,003. Obviously, does not include food and all the additional stuff you need. Honolulu was second, 5,932. San Francisco came in at 5,902, $5,902 for that as well. But the bigger thing here, Arizona's our prices here for the tourists to come in have gone up 23% since 2019 out there. And not only that, but travelers to and from Arizona, well, they have options coming up with major and smaller airlines. Well, they're adding services here to multiple airports here in Arizona. So just some more. We always talk about it. A lot of these airlines are adding more flights here in Phoenix to different destinations. Delta Airlines announced it would be adding direct service later this year between Phoenix Sky Harbor and the Austin Bergrum International Airport over in Texas. Delta's Austin to Phoenix route will start November 9th. It'll run twice daily and be operated by Delta Connection as well. So a smaller version of a Delta, right? The regional side. Delta is the third largest airline in Sky Harbor. It already has some major competition on that Phoenix to Austin route. American, Frontier, and Southwest already serve that route as of now. Delta is looking to increase number of passengers at Sky Harbor in 2026. For the 2025 year, Delta reported 3.7 million total passengers traveling to and from Sky Harbor. That was down 2.5% from the year before in 2024. And then don't forget about Contour Airlines. We've talked about them a lot over the last year. They're a small airline based out of Tennessee. It does have a presence at all three airports here in Arizona, but it announced this week it will be making another nonstop flight multiple times a week from Las Vegas to northern Arizona. And this is going to be the only time they fly out of Las Vegas for Contour. So starting July 2nd, Contour will fly 4 times a week, Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Yeah, between Las Vegas and Page up there in northern Arizona. The flight will be operated on a 30-seat regional jet. It's meant to connect travelers from Las Vegas, well, to, Lake Powell, for instance, Horseshoe Bend and Antelope Canyon, for instance, all in that Page area. What is that, a 20-minute flight at most between those? Contour already flies between Page and Phoenix Sky Harbor on a seasonal basis to Denver. Contour also has nonstop flights from Phoenix to Show Low, Moab, Utah, and Vernal, Utah as well for Contour. So some new airlines opening up some new routes later on this year. And folks, what a unbelievably busy morning here on a Monday. Mondays tend to be after the weekends, but some good news finally here. At the top of the show, we talked about it. President Trump ceasefire is what we're calling it here for 5 days, and talks are continuing on here between the U.S. and Iran. Oil prices dropping, all the negative stuff dropping. Treasury yields dropping, which means mortgages will probably come down here today as well. All of that's happening here as we get ready on this Monday. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Get you updated tomorrow morning on what's happens throughout the rest of Monday as well. Don't forget to follow us on X. TME Media AZ is the production company out there. TME Media AZ on YouTube as well. Catch us on demand. Share us with your friends if you would. And that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. here in McCollum on Business. Next up, the main event. Come and join us, folks. We'll see you then. Have a great Monday. Stay cool out there.